Welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam, and as you can probably figure from the time that I'm recording this, and therefore the time I am uploading it, and, the title of the episode, we're here to talk about the second trailer for Thor, Love and Thunder, the fourth Thor movie. And the thing is, if you told me that the first, series of movies that Marvel did to get four, that wasn't the Avengers doing a two-parter for three, I would have thought you were kidding, especially before Ragnarok, because Ragnarok kind of righted the ship, but this movie is not. Here's the thing. This trailer does not inspire a ton of confidence in me. For this movie. Fundamentally, I have a problem with, number one, by the accounts that I've seen so far as reported online, it appears the movie's going to be under 2 hours. And there's a lot going on in this trailer that's going to happen in this movie. Now, look, a lot of it can be truncated for comedic effect, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. If it turned out that, the time with the Guardians is comedically short, wouldn't be surprised. The time with of him training to get back into, Thor shape, if all of that's very short, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be disappointed, but I wouldn't be surprised. The thing that I'm bumping into with this trailer, more than anything else, is the fact that it seems tonally dissonant. And there are three distinct tones going on in this movie. There's a comedic tone that we've come to expect from Taika Waititi at this point, when he's directing or acting in, something like this. We expect that from him. And for Ragnarok to not have a dramatic Shakespearean kind of thing that's being played straight, it does work in that movie because Hela is less a villain and more a force of nature, in the same way that is in the same way that Malekith is in the Dark World, where it's the idea Hela isn't really a character in that movie. She doesn't have motivations besides to take over the throne of Asgard. But beyond that, there isn't really too much to her or anything like that. I think that the thing that should be addressed here is that between, the comedic stuff would work, especially if you're going to take the time and play off of the Guardians and their whole thing. I think that gives you a real chance to have something cool happen in that, in that movie. The problem that you end up with is I don't think that necessarily that melds well with the the very dark tone that needs to come with Gore the God Butcher. And it's not so much that it needs to have that dark tone. And it's if you don't do it, you're not adhering to the comics. It's more the fact that they are going with that very dark tone for Gore the God Butcher. That's what they're doing. It's not he is, here to kill the gods. He's going to have his motivation to kill the gods. And unlike Hela, who is doing it because of a primal need to, she is there because she's the rightful heir to Asgard, and, as she's in Asgard, she gets more powerful, and all of that kind of interestingness that comes along with it. But with that, she is fundamentally, what's the one I'm looking for here? She is, she's a force of nature. She doesn't need to have the strong, he doesn't need to have a good motivation. Gore, if he's gonna be a guy who's gonna go out and take on the gods and try to kill them himself, that's something that I think you need to have something that resembles motivation to deal with. Because he needs to have a reason why he's going to go out and take on the gods. And on top of that, the reason for that can't just be, the way Vision describes it in Civil War, where it's like our existence invites conflict. Like, it can't just be that, where it's like, oh, well, he wants to challenge them. Like, the motivation in the comics is that, the gods of Asgard let his people die, so he's like, hey, we're going to stop them. And you can dovetail that in with Infinity War, and they did a pretty simple idea, a pretty easy idea of how they explain Natalie Portman's, there. In the trailer, they very quickly are like, it feels like it's been 3 years, and Thor says it's been 8, and it's because of a 5-year gap. She died and then came back. But the idea, the fact of the matter remains, the tone is all over the place in this trailer, and it abruptly switches from scene to scene, and I don't like that, and I don't think it really works well when you're trying to sell a movie. And if the movie is like that, that's another problem. If we're going to get these scenes where Christian Bale is going to have these dark and dour moments trying to, sell himself as this, as the God Butcher, like, if that's going to happen in this movie, you can't juxtapose that immediately with, him getting his clothes ripped off by Zeus. I don't think you can juxtapose that and have it feel organic. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest problems with this movie if the trailer is indicative of the final edit, which, considering marketing materials all the time are done by outside houses and not done, Disney less so than, other companies. But considering that we're living in this world where the production is overseen by an outside entity, the production of the trailer, I don't think it's necessarily likely that that's the case. I think that, what we're looking at here is indicative of what we're getting in the movie. Because I feel like Disney has a more direct hand in it. But then again, Raimi and Kevin Feige were not happy about the promotion of Multiverse of Madness because they felt it gave away too much. And I tend to agree with them on that. I feel like a lot of the expectation that came into Multiverse of Madness came from that second trailer that debuted during the Super Bowl that that revealed Professor X. And I feel like had they not done that, you wouldn't have gotten this, all of the speculation about what's going to be in the movie, or who's going to show up, who's going to be here, and then people disappointed when it doesn't happen. So, on that note, we'll wrap up for today. I feel like the Love and Thunder trailer, and even the first one kind of underwhelmed, but I'm happy to be, thrilled by the movie. If the movie's good, I guess, as of right now, there isn't anything to it that is really drawing me there, besides the fact that I want to see the fourth Thor movie, which is a sentence I did not think I would ever say. So we'll wrap up there for today, and we'll be back with any other news as it happens. So until then, have a great rest of your week.